Hello everybody, this is Sherry Brett from PWI and SAU. I am here to bring you a short video tutorial on investigation equipment that you could have for your investigations. Go through a few of my bits that I've got as well, so you kind of can see what I've got and plans on what I'm wanting to get for the future as well. Because to be honest, when you're an investigator, you can never have enough equipment, okay? But you really don't need to get it all together. The first basis of becoming an investigator is being knowledgeable and understanding of all aspects of the paranormal, especially if you're working with spirits and stuff. And secondly is having a camera, a digital camera, an EVP or voice recorder for anyone that don't know what an EVP is, and just having your basics like maybe some trigger objects and motion sensor and things like that. But I will go through this with you. For some reason I can't find my motion sensor. I have a white one somewhere. I don't know where it's gone. But my first are your trigger objects. Okay, now you can use balls, you can use batteries, you can use pencils, you can use anything. You could even use a cross out of your ghost hunting equipment, okay, and put it on a bit of paper, draw around it. And obviously if there's any communication with the spirits and they're interacting with the equipment that you've got, these sort of things are really good to use because they can be moved and be manipulated. The second thing are the cat balls. Okay, now these flash, as you can see. Now what are these are made for is for the basis that when you're on investigations and stuff, spirits, when they touch them, it sets the balls off. So it really gives us a visual evidence that something may be there. But don't leave them on any slants or anything that's not leveled, because these will move because of them being round and everything, guys. So make sure they're on a steady and flat surface. Next, now every investigator should have these, okay, and that is batteries. Whether they're chargeable batteries, normal batteries, all investigators need loads of different batteries and stuff, because to be honest, when you're out investigating and that, sometimes it's said that when spirits are taking energy, they can make your equipment run out of battery and stuff like that. So it's really good to always make sure you've got spare batteries, spare camera batteries as well, so that you can reload your camera up, because they are meant to be very well known for doing that, and I've had that happen to me quite a few times. Next, I do not have one at the moment because it's broke, but a K2 meter. Okay, now that is a black box that's got red, yellow and green lights. Okay, now the purpose of a K2 meter is it's supposed to pick up on energy of spirits. Now the spirits are supposed to be formed of some sort of electrical energy, okay, so the EMF and the K2 meter pick up on these energies. So I don't, like I said, have the K2, but I do have the EMF. This device is also really good in ghost hunting to detect where there's any wiring or anything, because obviously when you're investigating in that, you do not want to be manipulating your evidence or falsely thinking you're having some sort of paranormal activity. These devices are really good for detecting spirit energy, but they're also very good at detecting things you don't want in your investigation. Okay, so these are really good. All you do with this is simply just turn it on and you've got a number. And as you can see, because I'm near an electrical device, it's setting it off. When I'm away from it, it doesn't. Okay, so these are really good to use, and they are really, really dependent. You know, I live on this. This is really cool. Next, you have your temperature gun, thermal gun, whatever you want to call them, okay? Now, the reasons for these is obviously spirits are supposed to give off some sort of energy. Now, that can be a cold spot, that can be a hot spot. It really does depend on them. Now, with this, you get a laser, as you can see, like the light. I'm not going to do it into the camera, but it forms a dot onto the wall. I don't know if that, yeah, there you go. So it forms a dot onto a wall and it reads a temperature, okay? Now, when you're going out on an investigation, the first thing you should do is do a base sweep of any place that you're at. Okay, so you will get readings on certain temperatures and stuff like that. So, and you map this and you write this down, because then as you go through the day, you keep doing these readings with these guns. Okay, and when it comes to the investigation, if there's been a certain rate that the temperature has stayed at, and suddenly in one area it dramatically drops, then this can be a indication of possible spirit contact and communication. Okay, and these are really good to pick up the cold and hot spots. They'll either rise or they'll go down, and you have a number that comes up on it that reads what it is. So say I've gone round doing base sweep all day and it's been at that temperature, and suddenly I'm standing there and every other part of the room is at 21, but I go to an area where it's gone down to 15. That could be a possible spirit communication. Okay, these are really good to use. The next, whether it's a phone or it is a video recorder, okay, you do need a video recorder. These are really good for picking up evidence, catching any anomalies, any manifestations, anything that may be going on site. You may be in another room and you're not able to be in all of the other rooms. So if you setting up cameras in these rooms is your option, it is a really good one, because you can go back over the evidence and over the footage and you may get some very good activity, and you may have caught something while you was out investigating without realising. Camera recorders are really important for that, and that's also really good because it documents everything you're doing. You can share it out with other people by downloading it onto the computer, and it's just a way to reach out to your supporters, to your family, to people that you're wanting to learn and educate more about the paranormal, whether that's UFOs, paranormal or anything. So yeah, documenting this evidence is really, really important, and it's a really good way to reach out to your supporters and to your fam and to the people that are wanting to understand the paranormal more, whether that is UFOs, spirits, crypto, whatever it is. Camera recorders always are really good, and I would recommend to you in getting a night vision camera, especially if you're going to be going out on evenings. At the minute I don't have a night vision camera. I use my phone because that's really good for using for cameras and stuff like that. I've got a digital camera and stuff, and I use this and I just have a torch or something near it so there's light in the area. But I would recommend getting a night vision camera if you can. They're not really that expensive. Just at the minute some people are in mad situations that they can't afford to get stuff at the minute, but these are still just as good. I've got some really good evidence on these sort of cameras. Normal cameras, digital cameras, you know, night vision, phone, all of them are really good. So obviously next, like I said, digital cameras. Digital camera, you can do videos onto it. You can also take pictures. It's obviously got an automatic flash, so it's really, really good for doing videoing or taking pictures. I have got some really good pictures and stuff through using digital cameras, and I think they're the more reliable way as well, because it's not as easy to manipulate in photos, and there is people that false their evidence and stuff like that. With a digital camera, you can't add something onto a digital camera. You can only do that through the computer, and to be quite honest, I'm not very tech savvy, so me trying to manipulate videos and that just wouldn't happen. But yeah, digital cameras are really good, and really good for picking up things like orbs and stuff, because they're not always that easy to see with the eye, but you'd be able to see them through this. Obviously, again, manifestations of spirit, anything like that, mist, whatever it is that a spirit would give off, you know, these sort of devices along with the video recorders are really good for documenting evidence and for being able to upload your evidence to share with everybody else. Now this device here, you've probably seen it in a round shape, but this is a REM pod, okay? Now with a REM pod, this aerial bit is the antenna, and this is where the spirit would touch it, okay, and it would set it off. So when you I'm not going to turn it on because it's going to deafen you if I do, but what you do is you have your battery in the back, as you can see, and you'd turn it on from the side or on top if you've got a round one, and there are lights. On here there is only one, but on the other REM pods there's normally a red lights and there's green lights. Okay, now the whole point of this is it's made so that it's not manipulated by anybody walking past it or making movement. The only way to be able to make this go off is by physically touching it. Okay, so this is a really good way to document when there may be a possible spirit or some sort of energy around. Okay, and it will set off an alarm and it will flash. So if you're out in an investigation and you're doing rooms and you've set this up in another room and you're not watching that room, the really good things about devices like this is you'll be able to hear it. So you'll know that something is going on. You'll be able to go to that area. If there's nobody there, you know, walkie-talkie through to your other members, say, have any of you been in this room, blah, blah, blah. If they haven't, then you have possibly caught some phenomena, guys. Yeah, and these are really, really good because, like I said, it is only touch. And you can get them in round ones and stuff. Some of them are a lot more expensive. It really does depend on what you're buying. But that is a REM pod. And I think that's a really cool bit of equipment. Obviously, if you're having like rechargeable things like batteries and stuff, it's really good to have like your charging ports and stuff as well. I've got charging ports. I've also got a tablet. Now I use my tablet to use my spirit apps, but you can also use that to do recording. You can document any of your work that you've done, any evidence that you've got. This would be perfect, and definitely really good because you can link it up with other devices as well if you've got the right equipment to do that. I'm not at that stage yet where you've got all of the setup and all that, but I'll get there. Next, this is a really cool piece of equipment. This is a laser grid pen. Okay, now this laser grid pen, when you turn it on, it forms dots. Now you can change the shaping of what you're wanting to see, as you can see. Okay, now what you do is when you're in a location and you're investigating, you'll set this up in a room or set this in a place where you are, and you'd have it set up on the wall. And what's supposed to happen is when a spirit, see, when we walk, if we walk through it, we block it out completely. Okay, when a spirit walks through it, it doesn't. It will just leave a manipulation of the dots disappearing. Okay, so you can tell the difference between when we've walked past it and formed a shadow and when a spirit's doing it, because the spirit will not block it out, it will just manipulate the dots, or you'll see it quickly walk past it. So this is a really good piece of equipment to use when you're going into big locations, even outside. I've used it at graveyards and stuff like that, and it's really good when you've got it sat on something steady and it's sitting there and you're seeing movement in the dots, because that is the whole point, is you're meant to be able to see the shape and the outline of the energy that is manipulating the device. So this is a really cool piece of equipment. You can get this in red, blue, green. It really doesn't matter, and you can actually get ones where you can actually change this bit here so that you've got the different sorts of shapes. You don't just have this one's all in one, but you can get them where you can have individual caps and you just tie them on. All of them are really good, and as I said, a really amazing piece of equipment, guys. And this one's got a key, so it's easy to turn on and off. Means saving battery. My most favourite part of my equipment, an EVP, a voice recorder. This picks up electronic voice phenomena. Okay, now what that is the voice of the spirits. Okay, now with this device, this has a form of white noise and stuff in it, so that it is said that spirits are meant to be able to communicate really well through white noise. So there is that built into this, along with other factors as well. Now when you're using an EVP, it's a really good piece of equipment because you're able to hear the voices of the other side on this. But also remember, don't hold it in your hand because it makes a lot of noise, okay, and that could be mistaken for something happening when it isn't. Always have your EVP down on the floor or on a surface, and always make sure that you document when you walk in or when you've made a noise or something, so that it's not manipulated to be in evidence. Okay, now these devices are very oh, how do you put it, very sensitive to the sound. Okay, so if you are going to be going to places, go to places where there isn't going to be a lot of noise, because these will pick up the noises. Not 9 times out of 10 you can tell when a car's going by or a bird tweets and things like that. Of course you can. They are, to me, very reliable. I've had some very, very good EVPs when I've used voice recorders and stuff like that. It's been absolutely amazing, and it is the most easiest way for them to communicate, and it's the easiest way to hear them as well. And believe me, they work. They're really, really good. My next device that I like to use as well, but this one's been going through a bit of a rundown. It keeps, 1 minute it's working, then it's not working. It is working at the minute. This is an Ovlius. This was dedicated to me by one of my fam when I first started out. About a year after I started out, this was sent to me. This is a box. Again, it will have the white noise, but it has also got banks in it that helps to have words. So when spirits say a word, this device will understand what the word is and say it out loud. This is how the spirits can talk through it. It goes through a word bank that is built within it. So when the spirits speak, it will recognise that and put that out through this device. When you turn it on, there is a light that flashes up and down. It will let you know when it's going low. It is battery operated. When you turn it on, it does say dictionary mode or whatever they say. Like, it lets you know when it's on. You can have reverse mode on here, so you can listen back to what they have said. So you'll be able to document what you're getting. These are really, really cool devices, and I've had some really cool stuff with this. There was a point when I went up to a house and I'd done an investigation, and when I come back, it had turned robotic. It was sounding really weird for like months. And when I would be on streams, I would be writing things in my chat, and this spirit box was saying what was being wrote in the chat. Okay, so these are really, really good devices. And then suddenly it went back to normal when the spirit still communicated, but somehow had made the device go back to sounding normal. It was really, really bizarre. But these are really good devices. Now, I'm a pretty old school investigator as well. I'm not really these sort of people that have all these SLS cameras and all this. You know, I think they're good things, all of these new equipment and that, but I'm just really not that tech savvy. And to me, I like to be as natural and as normal as I can, so I get the most basics of equipment. My favourite things to use are things such as dowsing rods. I have also got my pendulum, if I can find it. Hang on, I should have got that out before, but I forgot. Here we are. So you've got your dowsing rods. Now with these, obviously you would pull them out. Oops, not take the end off. Pull them out, and you have them like this, and you would hold it like that, so you're not moving anything. And you'd have both of them set up like this, and you'd have it sticking out, and you ask the spirits to show you yes and no. And you can ask them simple questions, and they are able to manipulate this. Now, the reason that they're able to manipulate this is when we make connection with this rod, we have our own energy. And when the spirits come in to communicate with us, they can pick up on our energy, which gives them the energy to be able to manipulate this as well. And they can also touch it and move it themselves, okay? But they can use us as well. And I think this is a phenomenal piece of equipment. This is also used for detecting things such as water and stuff as well, guys, so it's really cool. But I've had some really, really cool outcomes with these dowsing rods with spirits. I've asked them to point at certain things and they've done it and stuff like that. Really, really good piece of equipment, but always make sure that your hand is steady, and you'll notice when you're being communicated with these, because you'll feel like a slight pull on it and things like that. They're really, really good pieces of equipment. They're old school as well, back in the old days when people like Ed and Lorraine and people like that, these sort of things would have been very much appreciated. The other thing is pendulums. Okay, it's another form of communication, just like the dowsing rods, but it's done slightly different. So you would put it onto your finger. It don't matter what finger it is. There's always going to be a slight movement in your hand. That doesn't mean it's going to manipulate the pendulum too badly. You know, there's always a slight movement to the pendulum. That is normal. Okay, but the case of it is just like the dowsing rods. You would ask questions. Can you show me your yes? Can you show me your no? And they would come in and manipulate, and they would move it in a circle for yes, or a back and forth for yes. Likewise, so all spirits are different and they all choose different ways, but they use this to communicate. You can ask quite a lot of questions with this, and they will manipulate the dowsing rod and the pendulums, and it is one of the easiest ways to document when, like, them communicating and talking to us. Even though you're not physically hearing them, you're seeing them talking to you through using these devices. Absolutely amazing. They're really good for other things as well, for like your readings on people and magic and all that sort of stuff as well, as I am a witch. So other things that are really important, crystals and stuff. Like, for me as an investigator, I believe that protection is number one. Okay, so crystals, spiritual necklaces, neck bracelets, bits like that. Taking certain pieces of equipment that will help in that. So here you can see my sage, my Celamonto wood. You've got a feather. You've got a black salt. Obviously you'd have things like white salt. That is what I take out as well. Frankincense and myrrh. You can have them in incense, or you can have them in natural base. Even coals, all sorts of things. There's lots of things that you can use in protection. The reason for the feather is obviously when you're in a place, and if you come across an energy, even if it's good or if it's negative, sage is a really good thing to bring positivity into a room, and it's also really good for banishing and removing energies that are not wanted as well. And when you use the sage or the sentimental wood, you'd put them onto a dish or in a bowl or something, and you'd use the feather to push out the smoke, which is cleansing the area. Okay, now a lot of shaman people do this, and spiritual people that work with nature, like myself. As I said, I'm a witch, but I am also a practicing shaman. So these things are really good. You've got all sorts of things you can use. You don't have to just use this. You can make your own stuff. I do. I've got herbs, and I've got other things that I make. I've made things like ghost stop and all these sort of things. I make my own things that I know that have worked for me, and I'm trying to put that out there so that other people can have stuff as well, and in the future I'll be able to do that. But protection and making sure that you're safe is very important when you're investigating. Even prayers and that, you know, in my eyes, you don't need to be religious to be able to protect yourself. Okay, if you believe in the words at that time and you believe in what you're saying at that time because of a situation, it will work. Okay, the divine listen to everybody. Okay, so really good stuff. Obviously there's loads of different types of stuff that you can use to do with protection. Like I said, you've got frankincense and myrrh, you've got coal, you've got red brick, you've got different salts, you've got holy water, like I said, different herbs. That there's just so many different things that you can use in protection. Anything that's to your choice, really, because everybody's different and everything works differently for people. Okay, I have a lot of different protection stuff, and that sort of stuff is what I take out along with like crystals and things, and I do my prayers. My last one is my little spirit radios. Now these are really, really cool. You can get them small, you can get them in big. They come in different shapes, sizes, colours, different makes. But these devices are formed by battery, whether that's one that you put in or it's built in. These will have batteries. You've got your little signals that can turn to your different radio stations. With this, you do need to use the radio frequency and the radio vibration. Okay, so in this box, as well as having white noise, there will be parts built into it so that it's able to tune in to radio stations or radio frequencies. Okay, you can get noisy ones, you can get quiet ones. This one's not really that noisy, to be honest. And when you listen to it, you will hear parts of radio stations coming through, but you can tell the difference between a radio station and when the spirit's talking. I'm not being funny or anything. And what it does is it sweeps through different radio frequencies so that it can pick up on different energies, because in the spirit world, all spirits are on different levels and in different frequencies. Okay, so you may be able to communicate, say, with your nan in the low frequency, the middle to the low frequency, but then your granddad's in a bit of a higher frequency. Like, all of these frequencies are really important, and these sort of devices allow a number of spirits to be able to communicate with you, because they're not all on the same plane. They're all in different areas, levels and places because of what they are and depending on what they are. So these are really, really good for documenting evidence, really good for catching there and then evidence of the spirits talking to you. These are really good because you can use them when you're recording and stuff, and the recorders can pick it up. Just a really cool piece of equipment, but like I said, it is radio frequenced, so don't mistaken all of the voices on it for being spirit. You can normally, like I said, tell the difference between the radio stations and when a spirit's talking, because to be fair, you know, if something comes across and starts swearing at you, that ain't going to be on a radio station, okay? So, you know, you're getting something there, the voice may be slightly lower, may sound a little bit tinny. You can normally tell the difference. So, yeah, radio spirit apps are really good. And there's, like I said, there's all sorts of types. There's other equipment out there like SLS cameras and infrared static cameras. There's just so many different pieces of equipment. My next things on my list to get are I want to get another EVP. I want to get some more cat balls. I want to get another K2 meter because I have not got my K2 meter. I'm going to be buying another digital camera. I'm wanting to get a night vision camera, and there's a few devices that I've seen online that look really cool as well that I'm thinking of investing in, but I don't use loads of money on my equipment, and you really don't need to use loads of money on your equipment for it to work, okay? Amazon and eBay do some really cool equipment for really, really reasonable priced stuff. So looking in them sort of places, going to ghost stores and places like that, there's things on YouTube, Facebook and things as well, but they're a little bit more pricier, but still really good stuff and handmade by people that have looked and worked in making these devices so that they are reliable for paranormal investigators and stuff, okay? So you really don't need to pay loads of money to get evidence, guys, seriously. Like, I've got the most basics of equipment, and I have got some really cool evidence in the past and up to now. So that is a little bit of detail on my equipment, and giving you detail on the sort of equipment you should really have in your box. Obviously motion sensors as well. I did have a motion sensor. I don't know where it's gone, but it's a little white round circle one. You'll probably see it on in my videos on Paranormal World Investigators, which is now PWI Spiritual Investigators. Okay, there's a white box, and you can get them in all sorts of ways. You can get them in music boxes and stuff like that. Now, the point with the motion sensors is it picks up on movement that goes past it or touches it. The only thing with them is you've got to be able to mark out how near you need to be to set it off, because you don't want to be setting it off when you're investigating. So before you start your investigation and you're doing your base sweeps, test out how far apart you have to be from the device to not set it off, because it's really important that you remember to document that. Maybe putting a little sticky thing down on the floor or something just to mark, don't go over this spot. Because they are really good devices, but because they are motion made, it means anybody walking past it will set it off and make the light go off. Some of them make noise, you know, so make sure you do work out where you can and can't walk, okay, so you're not manipulating it, and so that you know that when that does go off, it's concrete evidence, okay? So I hope that you've enjoyed my video. I hope this has helped you to understand a little bit more. And I will be back on YouTube, and I will be doing some more investigating and things very soon. So please keep your eyes out. This is Sherry Brat, and I will see you very, very soon.